and welcome to our chamber concert this evening of 2025. The performances that you are going to see tonight is kind of like our work in progress performance in preparation for this Saturday, which is our district solo and ensemble festival. I'll talk a little bit more about that as we go through tonight's concert, but basically it's a whole day of festivities where we bring in not only our district, but we're also bringing in Mosinee district, as well as a couple of the events from Wausau School District, one from DC Everest, and then some from Antigo as well. So it's a pretty big multi-district event where they bring in solos, as well as the groups that you will see tonight, which are the large group ensembles. In between some of our selections tonight, we will have some soloists and duets out in the audience, actually in front of some of the balcony areas, so you'll kind of get to hear some scene-changing music while we get into prepping the stage for our next act. So I'm going to turn over the microphone to Lizzie, and she's going to kind of kick off a special announcement for us.
Thank you for joining us, everyone. Out of respect for all of our performers, we would appreciate it if you silence cell phones and turn off flashes would be a distraction. Thank you, we hope you enjoy.
Hello, we are the Symphonic Band Woodwinds from Merrill High School. Today we are performing Menuetto on Trio by Franz Schubert. This piece features several articulation types, key changes, and the melody is often passed around the different sections. Danke und guten Abend.
Normally I wouldn't talk again after that, but I know the Schutzes are out there. How'd he do?
Not bad.
Not bad, not bad. All right, we are going to get our symphonic band brass up here, and while we do, we have our euphonium player, Ronan Vanderweer, who is back there. He'll probably wait till most of our people get back to their seats, but he's going to play a little bit from his euphonium solo that he is doing for solo and ensemble while we do our scene change here.
Hello, we are the Symphonic Band Brass Group from Merrill High School. Today, we'll be performing Pizza Party by Harold L. Walters. This piece starts off in an energetic 6/8 time and transitions to a slower ballad section. It also has the stereotypic sound of an Italian bistro music. We hope you enjoy Pizza Party.
Right, we are going to transition to our symphonic band percussionists, and while we are doing that, we have a duet group that is going to be playing for us back in that corner over there. We have two flautists. We have Anna Wilde and Sarah Ross, who are going to be playing one of the movements for their piece that they are doing this Saturday at Solon Ensemble. So we'll let them get set up, and they'll take it away.
Hello, we are the Symphonic Band Percussion from Merrill High School. Today we will be performing "Aha" by Dick Shorey. This piece is all about the conversations between the different percussion instruments. While there are solos and interjections throughout, there are several unison patterns as well.
All right, we're gonna have our wind ensemble percussionists come up, so from one percussion group to the next. We don't have anybody in between for this one. This one's a pretty short setup time, so we'll be with you in just a second. So we had a little bit of an interesting situation this year with wind ensemble where we only have 3 percussionists, which usually we have around 4 to 5, sometimes on like lucky years 6, but obviously declining enrollment. I guess percussion, it must be a pretty scary thing because there's less of them in there. So it was really a challenge to like find something outside of what we normally do, because usually we do percussion ensembles, which have like 5 or more. So I'm really combing through my list of stuff that we can do, because there's a whole list of things you have to choose from, so we can't choose anything. And so we're like, hey, why don't we do a drum trio? So I'm gonna let Treg introduce this one, but something interesting about the trios, and I'll kind of talk about this when we get to jazz, but one of our jazz combo groups, is in the rules it specifically states there may not be a director. So I get to, after Treg's done with this, kind of step away and let them take it away. So Treg, why don't you tell us about the piece?
Welcome to our percussion march group ensemble. We are the Wind Ensemble Percussion Trio. We will be performing March Time by David P. Eiler. This piece features many cool percussive techniques such as rim flicks, cross sticking, crash cymbal rolls, and a bass drum feature. It's a pretty fun piece to play. We had a good time preparing it, and we hope you enjoy.
Next up, we have our brass ensemble from Wind Ensemble, so we're going to bring them up. And while we do, back in the corner over here, we have another low brass player. This time we have Izzy Scheffler, and she's going to be playing you a little bit from her solo that she will be doing this Saturday. All right, we are going to bring Eliza up here to introduce our next piece. She's going to get a little into the interesting instrument choices behind us. But obviously, we have bass player in band, so that's not a brass instrument, but we throw them into the brass group. And then our lead trumpet player just got his wisdom teeth out, actually last week, week and a half ago. So we had to find a substitute to take his part, and I was like, well, I'm already playing his part for jazz ensemble tonight. And interestingly enough, probably the last thing you would want to dream about, but last week, Tuesday? Wednesday? I don't know, one of those days I didn't sleep. But on the night I did sleep and dreamt, I actually problem solved in my dreams, which is great. I wish we could like put music under our pillow and absorb it that way, and the life problems would be solved. But I was like, oh my gosh, we could throw a soprano saxophone in because it's in the same key. It's not going to sound like a brass instrument, but it's brass colored, so that's halfway, right? So, I don't know.
Hello, we are the wind ensemble brass and things from Merrill High School. Today we will be playing Prelude in Fugue by J.S. Bach. Throughout this piece, we learn about fugues, which is a melody presented in one voice and then echoed throughout the ensemble at different times. Also, be sure to listen for the changes in dynamics as we play.
All right, while our wind ensemble woodwinds are getting set up, we have a very special duet to my left over here. We have Maria Ashbrenner and Lizzie Barker, and they are going to be doing a marimba duet for us. They're going to be playing one of the movements from their duet that they'll be playing this weekend at Soul Wind Ensemble.
Hello, we are the Wind Ensemble Woodwinds from Merrill High School. Today we will be performing Canzone Personare No. 2 by Giovanni Gabriele.
This piece's significant feature is the passing of the melody throughout the ensemble, as well as the numerous types of articulation. We hope you enjoy.
All right, we are going to bring our Jazz 2 ensemble up to get all set up here. And kind of when they are settled in, I'm going to go ahead and just share a QR code with you, and I'll kind of talk about what that QR code is too before you scan it, so that way in case you're like, I don't know what this is, you'll know. It's nothing, no viruses, no nothing, promise. Well, I suppose I can't promise, but you never know. So, one second. All right, so as I said, this concert is all in preparation for our Saturday performance day this year, which is this Saturday, March 1st. This is a kind of a competitive performance, so the students will be playing in front of an adjudicator who has a rubric in front of them and their music, and gets to kind of give them some feedback on how well they're playing their pieces, what to work on, and then how to grow as musicians, which is always the most important part. But this day cannot happen without the help of multiple people. So we have our lovely Tri-M Music Honor Society students who will be signing up and running around like crazy that day. They'll be helping with some concessions. They'll be helping with running scores to the scoring room. They'll be at an information table, and then we'll even have some students who are going to be helping with room monitoring. But we only have so many students who aren't running around doing their own events throughout the whole day, because we have some students who are in like 4 or 5 different events, as well as just some students cannot commit to the whole day. We will be opening it up to students who aren't in Tri-M to help as well if we can't fill some of these positions, but this is where the QR code comes in. Each year, we need a handful of parent volunteers to give some of their time to this day. So this QR code will take you to our sign-up page, which displays all the different positions that we need help with. Some are a lot easier, and such as like bringing a dozen brownies or a dozen cookies or a bag of grapes, to something like, hey, I can help with concessions within this morning time frame, and then there's an afternoon time frame, because it's always great to have adults working alongside the students in the concessions area, especially because we're dealing with money. And then we also need some parent helpers, especially in the morning, for room monitoring. So what is room monitoring if you've never done solo and ensemble before? Basically, we have 6 different what we call sites set up throughout the school. One is in the choir room, 2 are down the hall from the choir room. We have 1 in the library, and then 2 upstairs in the history pod. And what our room monitor volunteers do is they essentially go by those rooms. You're kind of like the bouncers to the room. So you're making sure that during a performance, people aren't walking in or out of that room. Obviously, if there's an emergency, there's an emergency. You're taking the music that the students hand you at the door and just giving it to the judge. And then you just get to, if you like checking things off a list, this is like the perfect job for you, because when that student goes in to perform, you check them off the list. Yes, they are here. And then that's like the best feeling ever, because then you get to do that again for the next student, and the next student, and the next student. So it's a really, really easy job. There's even an instruction sheet I put on a clipboard for you, so that way, like, all the questions you have are answered. But so concessions and room monitoring, and then just like bringing in a food item, you could even send that with your students. That is all in this QR code. There also was an email that went out to all family and students today at around 5:45 that has the link to the sign up as well. So that way, if you don't have access or can't scan the QR code tonight, you do have access to it via a link in your email. And there is also our chamber schedule, so the students know when they perform and when they have to be there for warm-ups and all that stuff. So if you have questions, definitely come find me after the concert, but like I said, there's an email sent out as well. So we are going to transition here to our Jazz 2 group. I'm going to go put my computer down, and we'll be back with you in a second. right, the first piece that our Jazz 2 ensemble is going to be performing is a little Dixieland type swing chart, which is called 5'2". Right, our next piece and final piece for Jazz 2. By the way, Jazz 2 isn't doing anything for solo and ensemble, but we have so many pieces and we're like, hey, we got these two ready to go, let's play them anyways, and they're kind of fun, and Jazz 2 wants to do something for the concert. So, our second piece that we're going to do, they really like this one. I think they like it more because of the title than the song, but it's called Alligator Boogaloo. I mean, that's just fun to say. This one is going to feature 4 soloists. So it's going to be on alto saxophone, Lizzie Parker, and then on tenor saxophone, Sophie Schmidt, right next to her. Way in the back, and you can give a little wave, there's Ryan Hill on trumpet. Trumpets are already standing, so when they do solos, they don't even have to change levels, they're already there. And then coming back up to the saxophone row, we have Patrick White on alto saxophone. last but not least, we are going to go ahead and bring up our Jazz 1 folks, or keep them on the stage, depending on who they are. All right, we are going to start with our Jazz 1 tune of Don't Get Around Much Anymore. Jazz will be performing at Solo and Ensemble. I am the stand-in Jacob Stetschleif today, just because, again, wisdom teeth, they hurt to try to play without them while you're healing, less than 2 weeks, like before or after surgery. So, this tune is going to feature 3 soloists. So one of the rules in the book is that you have to have 3 soloists per song who perform at least 24 measures of an improv solo. So nothing written in front of them on this solo. It's all made up. They can have like little bits of guidance on their sheets of paper, like maybe some notes that they can use, but otherwise everything comes from their mind. So this one is going to feature Theo on tenor saxophone, and then Treg on vibes, and then way back to Jackson on trumpet. All right, before we do our last tune of the evening with our Jazz One group, there are a couple people we want to thank for lending their help tonight. We have both in Merrill Productions and our audiovisual team, we have 2 student workers working tonight up in the booth. So let's hear it for them tonight, running our sound and lights and cameras. And then a big thank you to our NACS administration for all their support through all the activities we do, as well as our custodial staff for keeping wonderful care of this facility. And then, of course, students, you for your hard work, and parents for your support of the program. We are going to end our portion and the concert with a kind of like a soul rock tune called Sidewinder. And we'll see off the top of my head if I remember who this features. So features Theo, again, on tenor saxophone, and then Caroline on trumpet back there, and then we have quite a lengthy drum set solo for you from Mr. Morgan Sykes in the back. So listen for those 3 solos, and we give you Sidewinder. Thank you again for coming out this evening, and students, we will see you for performing these again outside the school day on March 1st. So thanks again, drive home safely, everybody.